So, do you store hard wheat berries in your long-term food storage? Well, unless you're gluten intolerant, you really should. And I'm going to explain to you what these are, why you should store them, how to store them, and where to buy them, and what are some of the uses for hard wheat berries. So come on along. So what are wheat berries? Well, I think we've all seen the wheat stalks, right? And the little seeds in each one, those are what are called the wheat berries. And they're made up of 3 parts. And the outside is the bran. And I think we've heard of wheat bran before, and that's where most of the fiber and a lot of the nutrition is. But if you're buying white flour in the store, that bran is already removed, so you lose a lot of that nutrition. Now, white flour is made from that endosperm, the inner part. And the germ is just that small little embryo, which if you're sprouting your wheat berries, that's where that little green sprout comes from. So those are the parts of a wheat berry. Now, when most people think of wheat berries, here, the wheat, they think of milling flour. And you can, look at that beautiful flour. And you can use a grain mill like this, it's a hand one, or what I really use, because that takes a lot of manual power, I use the Wonder Mill, just plug it in. But if I didn't have electricity, I'd still have the way to grind my wheat. But there are many things from wheat berries that if you think, I'm never going to grind my own flour, there's still a reason to store these in your long-term storage. And I'll go into that in just a minute. So this 1 cup of wheat berries has about 300 calories, and it's packed with nutrition. I mean, look at this. That whole wheat compared to your white flour, look at the difference in the dietary fiber and in your amount of calcium and your iron and phosphorus and zinc and copper and magnesium. You can go on and on. The whole wheat definitely has more nutrition than your plain white flour. Now, something else to mention. And as long as this little kernel is intact, all the nutrition is in it. But as soon as you start grinding it, the nutrition is stripped away. And the reason is because of oxidation. Within 3 days of grinding your flour, 80% of the nutrients are gone. So that's why if you are going to use wheat berries and you really are concerned about your family's health, get the whole berries, get a grinder, and make your own flour and bake with it right away. And then you're saving all the marvelous nutrients. But again, you can still have the nutrients in these wheat berries without making flour. Now, you'll see hard white wheat berries and hard red wheat berries. And then you'll hear about winter wheat and other types of wheat. The main thing to know is they're both pretty much the same, just that the red wheat berries are the kind that make the darker wheat bread, a little bit more of that bitter taste, and they have a little bit more gluten. But your white wheat berries work just fine in baking also, and they make great cake flour. And you can use it for bread the way I do. So here's some bread I made today. I just toasted it up, put on some homemade strawberry spread. I mean, doesn't that look delicious? And my family is getting all the nutrients because I mill my flour myself. But I store both the white hard and the red hard wheat berries. But it's up to you. It really doesn't matter. Just store one of them at least. Now you might say, well, why store? I really hardly eat bread. I just think this would be wasted in my food storage. Well, do remember there's a lot of strange weather going on and crops getting ruined, and because of that, prices escalate. So it's not a bad idea to store wheat now for the future in case prices go up. And China has been importing an awful lot of wheat because they've had problems. So when there's more demand, the price can go up. So I think it's a great idea to get wheat now and store it long term. Now you might say, I've never seen wheat berries in the store, maybe in a health food store. I mean, where would I buy these? Well, you might be lucky enough to buy them directly from the farmer, but if so, you are going to have to clean them well. And you want to make sure you don't purchase what they call wheat berry seeds, because that can have toxic chemicals on it. Do not do that. And some health food stores and bulk food stores allow you to purchase the wheat berries in bulk. And the one I priced here in Michigan, it was under $1 for a pound of wheat berries. So that's not bad. You can also purchase them online. The LDS store sells both red and wheat hard wheat berries in number 10 cans, and so do many other suppliers. But when you order them online, shipping can really add to the cost. Now, I stumbled on just a great deal, just by accident. I was ordering something else on Walmart and it came up Augustin Farm hard wheat, white wheat berries. And I couldn't believe the price. These buckets are 24 pounds and they were priced at only $18.58 a piece. And because I bought enough, I bought 10 of these buckets, I didn't have to pay for shipping. So that's about less than 77.5 cents per pound for hard wheat. And I thought that was really good. It comes in a nice stackable bucket and it's really easy to keep in your food storage. But no matter where you decide to find your wheat berries, just store them. I really think it's a good idea. Now, could you store flour instead? Sure. But these wheat berries here, let's see, what was the date it said on them? Best by 12/4/2050. Well, let's see, it's 2021. I don't even know if I would be around for that Best By date. So that's a really long-term storage. Now I do have some flour in my long-term storage. I've gotten it from the LDS cannery, but they say it only stores up to 10 years. So I don't want to depend just on that. I also want to have my stored wheat berries. Now, I was going to, like an hour after I ordered it, I thought, gee, I should tell my subscribers about this. This is a great deal. So I went right back on Walmart, gone. Couldn't find it anywhere. So, I don't know, sometimes you just got to look for those deals because they can go just like that. Now you might say, well, how much wheat berries should I store? Well, if you believe on what they put online, they say 150 to 200 pounds per adult. Now that sounds like an awful lot of wheat berries, and it would take up a lot of room in your storage. You know, if you're a person that eats bread and biscuits every day, though, that's pretty important to you. Or if you're depending on wheat for your protein and fiber, then of course you want to have enough. But the amount to store is up to you. What do you think? You know, at 150 pounds a year, a person could have 3+ loaves of bread a week. And if you were living off your food storage, that might be important. But remember, you can get more than just loaves of bread. Wheat berries can be made into cereal. They can be made as a side dish, even desserts, salad toppings. You can sprout them, and you can also grow wheatgrass for very healthy smoothies. So there's all kinds of things you can do with wheat berries. That doesn't mean grinding it into flour. Now, I'll have a follow-up video to this where I'm showing you some of those various things you can do with the wheat berries and how easy it is to cook with them. Because you know, the one thing is, you don't wait until an event happens, you know, an SHTF event, to start thinking, I got these in my storage, but I have no idea how to use them. So I'm going to show you some easy ways to use them, and I hope you store them too. Now you might say, yep, okay, I know I need them, but how do I store them? Well, like every food it seems like in my long-term food, The enemy is light, oxygen, and moisture. So you want to, oh, and heat. So you want to keep these in a cool, dark place. You can put them in an oxygen absorber in a bucket or with a Mylar bag. And you have to be careful for varmints because many animals, pests, also like to eat these. And of course, you also have to be careful of insects. Now they say storage temperatures above 60 degrees can degrade the seed viability, its ability to germinate, but that's not really that important for us, is it? But it can lose some food value. And of course, a moisture level of more than 12% can cause mold, more than 20%, bacteria can start to grow. So you've got to be really careful about where you're storing it and the moisture level in the area around it. And you don't want to store this in a hot garage or shed because extreme heat will destroy the gluten in the wheat and it won't be very good for making bread. Now you can also, rather than store it in a bucket or in a Mylar bag, you can store your wheat berries in canning jars. It's really up to you. If you are storing wheat berries to make bread, you might also want to store some other ingredients. Yeast is a good idea. Yeast can last 2 years. But you can always make yeast if you don't have it, but then of course you're going to do more of like a sourdough starter. Ethical Preparedness has an excellent video on making his own yeast and then grinding his wheat berries and making his own bread. It's really a great video and I will put a link here, wherever it is in the corner, but also down below. I really encourage you to check it out. So in addition to yeast, you might want to store this. This is premium vital wheat gluten, and it just helps sometimes, depending on what type of bread you're making. The hard white wheat doesn't have as much gluten and you could use a little bit more, and it's really great to add to making bread. This has a shelf life of 7 to 10 years, so if you use this in your bread recipe, also make sure to store this. Well, I hope this video has inspired you that if you don't store hard wheat berries, you think hard about it. And if you are already storing them, I'd love to hear how many pounds do you store per person in your household for like a year's worth of storage. And are you using the wheat berries themselves, or are you merely storing them so you can grind them into flour? Please comment below. And remember, a video will be coming up soon where I show all the amazing things you can do with just the wheat berries themselves. I think you will be surprised by the amount of dishes you can make.